Hey everyone, guess what today is the start of? Jammy's week! If you've never heard of the Jammys, it's basically just my awards for the best things of the past year, so 2019. My original screen name is Jam Beauty 89, so the Jammys, you get it. Okay, very clever, I know. I had to think long and hard to figure that one out. So I have so much makeup here to talk about. I tried to be really picky about what I picked. Most categories have one product, but some of them have two, just because there were just a couple really good products. Total mix of drugstore and high-end. I really didn't pick like one drugstore and one high-end winner. I just picked my favorite of the year. And so in some cases it happens to be drugstore, other cases it's high-end. So for the Jammy Awards this year, I'm doing 3 different videos, but it'll be makeup in today's video. And then there will be beauty, which would be skincare, hair care, body care, bath stuff, all of that. And then I'll do another, which is lifestyle favorites. And oh my gosh, I have so many good lifestyle things to share. It's like overwhelming. So that's gonna include like fashion stuff, but also like household things, decor. It'll even include like coffee, snacks, just that one I'm probably the most excited about. I was inspired by Arna Elaine here on YouTube, who I adore and I look up to so much. I will link her channel below. She uses her Arna Awards as a way to raise money for something that she cares about. And there is something that is near and dear to my heart that I do care about, and I figured I would follow her lead. Basically, my father-in-law, Matt Braun, Tyler's dad, has been going to Ecuador for a decade doing mission trips. They've rebuilt churches and houses, and the community that they are helping there is near Duran, Ecuador, which is kind of outside of Guayaquil. They just have a really high need for so much. And the biggest need they've had is for some kind of library and some kind of medical center. So I'll put a picture on the screen. They've started construction on a center that will serve as both a medical clinic and then also a library. The thing that really kind of broke my heart about it and what made me want to really help is that there was this young man named Michael that lived down there, and he was like 21 and he came down with an infection, and there was nowhere near for them to go seek medical care. He was suffering enough. They finally took him to a hospital that was really far away, and he spent the last 3 weeks of his life suffering from an infection that ended up taking his life at 21. And it was literally something that if he had had antibiotics early on, it would have cleared it up. And that is heartbreaking. Like, I think of even just my 1-year-old who, when she has an infection, if she needs antibiotics, we can drive down the street and get them. It's not an option for everyone in the world, and that's the case in this community. It's heartbreaking. They need medical care, and they also need books and computers and a way to learn and help themselves. So because my father-in-law, Matt, has done so much for this community and has helped in so many ways, the foundation that's helping with this is actually planning to name it the Braun Center, which is like the coolest thing in the world. And I know he is just ecstatic to be helping a community that needs it more than anything, in a community that's near and dear to his heart and the people that live there that he genuinely personally knows. And so I think this is a really cool thing. Here's the deal. It's gonna cost $60,000. They have raised all that they need, but they still need $13,000 more. And so I figured I'm definitely gonna be donating a huge chunk of what I make from these videos. I hope that you guys have it in your hearts. If you can financially help, that would be huge. Even if it's $1, $5, $10, $20, whatever you can afford to help is going to make a huge difference. So I have a link down in the description box if you feel it in your heart to give. Every little bit helps. And I'll definitely update you as this center gets built more and more. I can definitely share pictures on my social media, maybe even here on YouTube, of how it's going. Know that most of this last bit of money they need is to help buy computers, to stock the library with books, and of course to help with the actual medical supplies they would need to have a little clinic there. Like I said, if you do want to donate, there's a link below. You can safely donate. I'm using Donately for this. And then the money will go to the foundation to apply to this, which is the Children of Pure Heart Foundation. Okay, so diving into makeup, I have so much here and I am so excited. Let's see, where do we begin? Let's just kind of go in order of face, okay? So the easiest favorite was, I thought about, okay, what do I put on every single day without fail? And I always put on SPF. That's something I've gotten better about this year. And my favorite SPF ever of all of the ones I've tried is still the Paula's Choice Super Light Daily Wrinkle Defense. It's got SPF of 30. I just love it. It's like 30 bucks, but it's got this nice tint to it. I do think it shears out, but I think it could possibly not look perfect if you have much deeper skin than me. I think it would be really cool if Paula's Choice came out with like at least one more version, so that way it wouldn't look quite so gray toned on people that are deeper. I don't know, Paula's Choice, if you're listening, that'd be pretty cool. It's such a good product. It's really lightweight. It doesn't feel sticky and greasy like some SPFs do, but it also doesn't pill up under makeup, which is huge. A lot of SPFs do, so I really, really love this. All right, face products. None of these are gonna come as a surprise to you. My number one thing I've used more than anything this year is still the Missha BB cream. I bought a new one recently. Number 23 and 21 work for me. Shade range is awful. Again, Missha, if you're watching, please improve your shade range. It's got medium coverage, which most BB creams don't have that much, but it blends out so easily. Like, I can't talk highly enough about this. It's so good. They sell it on Amazon, but I just feel like it evens my skin tone out. It brightens it. It also has SPF of 42. So it's just like doubling down on that. But my skin just looks so nice. If you have drier or even normal skin, I think you would love this. Now, I do have some foundation picks though. For like medium coverage, I love still the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. I initially really liked the packaging, but I have to say now that I'm getting lower in this, it's hard to know, like I don't know how much I have left, and that is making me crazy. So I kind of do wish they would end up just turning it into a pump bottle, and I also wish the scent wasn't so awful. The scent is awful. It really is bad, but beyond that, the finish is so pretty. Again, if you have normal to dry skin, I think you would love this. I have the shade LN3. And then the other one, this one surprised me the latter half of this year. The CoverGirl No Lay Advanced Radiance Foundation. Whoo-wee, baby boy. This one is so good. It definitely has a little bit higher of coverage, and it's almost like a whipped formula, like it's thicker, which I would think I wouldn't like, but there's something about it that's still moisturizing, and it looks so gorgeous on the skin. I have used this more often mixed with the Missha BB cream, because if I, like today, I mixed these two together, and it just, they look so beautiful and healthy and lifelike, but definitely still covered, and man, they're so good together, you guys. Oh, I forgot primer. So this was the year of using less primer for me. I realized most of the primers in my drawer have kind of gone unused the past few months, but I definitely used them towards the beginning of the year. But the one standout for me was this Revlon Pore Reducing Primer. You may recall, I discovered this from Taylor Wynn when we did a video together. She recommended it. It's so good on the nose. So I only put it, like today, I put it on my nose, and then I kind of fan it out like right there, and I'll usually put a little bit there and there. I feel like my makeup sits so much better on top of this than when I don't use it. And to be honest, the past month I hadn't been using it, and I'm like, gosh, like, why isn't my foundation staying on my nose? And then I was like, that's what I'd been doing. And so I got back into using it this week, and I'm like, it makes a huge difference. So drugstore, get the little pink one. It is so, so good. It really is the only primer, like, I feel like glowy primers, I love so many of them, but they're all very similar. Like, they all do the same thing. But this is one that I really do feel like makes a difference. Okay, in order the way I do it, I have one brow favorite. Say it with me, the LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil. This bad boy is like $5 at Ulta. I use the shade Brunette, and it's just so good. I've bought probably 6 of these this year. I feel like they last me about a month and a half, 2 months. I used it today. It's just, it's a brow pencil, you guys. It's so simple. It's nothing revolutionary, but I don't know. I find it hard to go back to spending the $20 on like an Anastasia one when I feel like this one does literally the exact same thing. The one thing I would recommend if you buy it and try it is put powder on after so that the color doesn't move. I feel like it moves a little bit easier. So like for me, I do my foundation, then I do brows, then I do my eyes and the rest of my face makeup. By the time I'm done with that, I was feeling like I had to reapply a little bit to certain areas. But once I started just putting powder on top, it held the color in place all day. So that is my tip, but I love it. $5, man. That is a real deep, genuine love. Concealer. Okay, I have 2. Benefit. I cannot believe how much I love this one. The Benefit Boi-ing Cakeless Concealer. It's not super drying on the under eye, but it actually still stays in place. Like, I feel like it's hydrating and it stays in place. A lot of ones that are hydrating don't stay. I got this in the shade number 4 because I don't like it to be super brightening. I like it to be a little bit more of like matching to my skin tone. There's something magical about this, you guys. It's beautiful, it's hydrating. I still set it because if you've got fine lines, it's going to creep into them like every concealer I've ever tried. But it just is so gorgeous all throughout the day. So set it with the powder, but man, it is so, so, so good. I cannot stop using it. Another favorite is this COL-LAB one. This is the shade Ivory Sand. And it's very, very similar in formula. This might be a little bit thinner than the Benefit one, but they both have the same kind of applicator, which is just kind of flat and soft and cushy, so it just glides right on. But a very similar look when it's on the eye, and I love them both. This one is much cheaper. It's like around, I want to say $10 or $12. Problem is you can only get it at Sally Beauty, and a lot of times they're sold out of the shade you might need, and they also don't have a big shade range, but it's very good. So if you don't want to splurge on this, these are so similar and they are both so good. Actually, I'm wearing the COL-LAB one today and I just love it. Both of them have, I would say, like medium coverage. Powder. This is the one, there are quite a few honorable mentions I'm not going to mention even though I'm thinking about it, but I'm like, no, Jessie. This is the one standout powder from the year. It's the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin powder. It takes a lot for me to buy a powder, especially one that launches new, because I don't use powder all over my face every day. But this one, I'd heard so many people tout about it that it can, not only is it a beautiful coverage powder foundation, but it also looks good on the under eye. I use this today in my T-zone and on my under eye, and it really is beautiful in all of those ways. I use it all over my face. I'll use it just to set my under eye. I'll use it just in my T-zone. It's also really good. This sponge is actually really good. If you are like me, my foundation always breaks up on my nose. Even when I use my pore reducing primer, this is amazing at reapplying, and you just use the sponge and it presses into it. And then I don't have to use my wet beauty blender type sponge, my L'Oreal one, because I always ruin powders that way. But now I feel like I can just use this and it has the same airbrushing effect. And I love this powder because obviously it's a powder. It's going to catch on a peach fuzz, but it looks so much more lifelike while still having coverage. And so I really think this is good, and worth your money. Like actually worth the money. It's so good. I have the shade R220, by the way. I hope I'm not going too fast, but I feel like this video can tend to be long. Okay, eye primer. This really blew me away this year. It's from Revolution Pro. You can buy it at Ulta. It's their Eye Elements Core Eye Primer. It is 100% a dupe for the Soft Ochre Paint Pot from MAC. I know, and way cheaper. I still love the MAC paint pots. I actually have Painterly right now, and I love that one too, but they're exactly the same. And actually, this one might have a little bit more coverage. I call it a soft ochre dupe because it's a little more yellow toned. I don't know if they have another shade that'd be similar. I think they do to Painterly, but I don't really need that right now. I have this and the MAC one. But it's so good. It covers the eyes. I end up using a brush and dipping it in there and applying it because it's kind of hard if you have even a little bit of a nail to kind of get in there. It's really good, you guys. So I have a couple of palettes. This is the only category that I genuinely have 4 favorites. And I was like, Jessica, let's narrow it down to 2 because I was tweeting about this recently. I was like, I genuinely feel like for yearly favorites, you shouldn't have 6 bronzers as the favorite. It should be like 1 or 2. But eyeshadow palettes, there were 4, okay? The first standout was the e.l.f. New Classics palette. It has been a while since I have really fallen in love with something from e.l.f. I genuinely mean that. There was a long time where e.l.f., there were so many favorites I had, and I do still think they put out really good stuff, but I'd been trying a lot of their newer launches and I wasn't really impressed until I tried this. This, if you're a neutrals person, you will love. And I have found that I use so many of the shades. I think the shimmers are gorgeous. The mattes blend beautifully. I love these 9. No, see, that's what I'm saying. I even use this. I literally use all of these. The only one I don't really use is Downtown here. Or this green one, Gilded. I've used it a little bit, but it's not a favorite. But the rest are so gorgeous. It's, what is it? Like 12 bucks, maybe 15 bucks. It's worth it, you guys. Especially if you look at it and you feel like, wow, I would use so many of those shadows. The quality is really nice. I find myself reaching for this over tons of high-end palettes. Natasha Denona in there, I don't even really reach for. I'm reaching for this. So that should be a pretty good testament to how much I love this, especially if you like neutrals. By the way, some of my favorite shades, I love using Cosmo all over, like brow bone to just all over, and then grabbing either Uptown or Charmer here just to blend into the crease really fast. It's so beautiful. I would buy a quad with just those. All right, another palette is a more recent love, but you guys have heard me talk about a lot. The ColourPop Going Coconuts palette. It's back in stock, at least it was. I love that it's got cool and warm tone. The shimmers are out of this freaking world, especially Cocoa Crush. The only shade I don't really use is Palm Reader here, but I find myself reaching for this so much. It is so beautiful. The packaging is cute. The price is right. Now I have 2 pricier ones, but these are loves. deep loves of mine. One of them is this NARS 6-pan palette. It is their Voyager palette, and it's called Suede. It's their Suede palette. I love this. I've traveled with this a ton. This is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. So I used this gorgeous kind of rosy bronze shade all over the lid. Then I used this medium brown in the crease. I used this shimmer on the brow bone. I used the dark one kind of in the outer corner. I use all of the shades in here, and it's just so useful to me. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm leaning more, especially as we start a new year, towards smaller palettes. I'm really not reaching for large palettes as often, and I'm finding myself drawn to these smaller ones where I actually use all of the shades. I feel like I'm getting my money's worth, and it's just a good feeling when you look at something, you're like, I actually use like all of that. I can't explain it. So this is one that I've loved all year long. I've traveled with a ton. Another favorite is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk palette. Not the Palette of Pops one, but the Pillow Talk. This one has like 2 matte shades and 2 shimmers. I use every shade in it. This one's not, you're gonna swatch it and be like, oh, that one sucks. It really is meant to be like you tap it on top and it's just a cute little glittery wash. I like it. It's the other shades that make this palette though. These 2 are gorgeous. I'll use this in the crease, then this in the outer corner. This shimmer, I've almost hit pan on. It looks like nothing when you swatch it, I know. But I'm telling you, when you put it on the eye, I'll put it on the brow bone and all over there. It's kind of like that Charmer shade in the e.l.f. Classics palette. They're very similar. They give this like ethereal glow to the eye that's not shimmer and glitter, but it's not matte, but it's just this gorgeous look. I cannot explain it, you guys. It's so pretty, even just on its own. I love it. I love it. I love this palette so much. It's one of the few, again, like crazily priced palettes. If you would use these shades, you will love it. Eyeliner, it was a slow year for eyeliner. It just was. Like, even these I thought about not mentioning, but they are favorites, but I didn't feel like when I think about how much I love these, I was just kind of like, meh. The Sephora Retractable Waterproof Eyeliner is really good. I wanna say it's really good with the caveat. I think it's really good for smudging out. I don't think as a liner itself, just like straight up if you're wanting a deep dark line, this definitely can get deep and dark, but I don't think it's best used that way. I think it looks best if you smudge it with the smudger, and that's how I've been using it, and I really do love it. The other nice thing about this line, they're like $12 a piece, which is kind of pricey, but it's not crazy. They have a lot of shades, so if you wanted like a beautiful navy blue or like green, they have a lot of different shades. This is the matte brown black, and I have been enjoying that a lot. Quick mentions for the Maybelline Eye Studio Gel Liner, one of my favorites. This has been a favorite for years. I've just been using it a ton. I used it today. Super black, super easy to use. You don't have to spend high-end money on gel liners, period. You don't. This one is so good. And then the Makeup Revolution Renaissance Flick Liquid Liner was definitely, hands down, my favorite liquid liner of the year. It's under 10 bucks at Ulta, and it's just, the packaging is gorgeous. I always use this over gel liner to kind of clean up the edges and kind of flick it out a little bit, and this has been my favorite. I've repurchased it a million times. By the way, there's someone, I just had to grab one of the mascaras I'm gonna mention. There's someone working on our internet, and we just switched to a new internet provider, right? They were like, it's gig speed internet, and it was gonna be like basically the same for what we were paying through another company, but they just installed in our neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. So we switched to them a few weeks ago, and so much has gone wrong. Like, they drilled it into the wall in the wrong spot, so Tyler was upset about that, so they're fixing that today. But also, the internet was not that fast. We're like, what is going on? Like, it said it was gonna be gig speed, and it was maybe slightly faster, but you know you can run like the speed tests on it, and it was like not even close to a gig, even when like directly plugged in. Long story short, the guy was like, oh, this is easily fixable. And we're like, thank goodness, because we're like, what are we paying for that? Like, why do we go through all this effort of getting through a new company, canceling the other, you know, returning the blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so that's exciting. I'm excited for him to be done and me to like test like upload speeds like for videos. So mascaras, I have 2 favorites. One is from Essence. This is what I was grabbing. I keep this in my bathroom because I use it all the time when I'm getting ready in there. It's the Volume Stylist Lash Extension Mascara. Wow, this one blew me away this year. It's just so black, so volumizing and curling. Like, it just does it all, and it's so inexpensive. I feel like half of the time when I'm using this, I'm like, how is this inexpensive? Like, it really does for me perform like a high-end mascara. And frankly, I've tried plenty of high-end mascaras I don't love. So it's not like you are always getting what you pay for, because I do think sometimes you don't. This is incredible. I've bought like 3 of these this year, and honestly, this one's getting dry. I'm definitely gonna buy another one. The other favorite is much more expensive, but it's from Thrive Cosmetics and it's their liquid lash extensions. Oh my gosh. The exciting news is I had to buy this on Thrive's website to try it. And literally weeks ago, they started selling at Ulta online. And I'm like, yes, now I don't have to pay for freaking shipping. Well, I guess I would, but at least I could buy other makeup with it, you know? Anyway, I am rejoicing over that because this blew me away. So it's a tubing mascara, which I've told you I hate the idea of. I just can't even think about it. It's so gross. But it's incredible. You guys, it's incredible. It's incredible. It's incredible. I'm wearing it today. If you have problems with your lashes not staying curled, this is the answer. If you have problems with your lashes like having fallout, never. You will never see fallout with this because of the way it's formulated. It's a totally different product, basically. If you know of a cheap version of this, please let me know. I would love to save the money. But you guys, I can't believe how good it is. That was an exciting discovery and I literally only discovered it like a couple months ago. All right, let's move on to face. I'm wearing most of this, by the way, on my face. I don't know how much I've told you I've been wearing, but I pretty much used everything I'm talking about today. My favorite bronzer, that was an easy pick. The Milk Makeup Baked Stick. It smells like Play-Doh. It does. So if you get one and it smells like Play-Doh, that is the way it smells. What I do with this is, this is the bronzer that got me into cream bronzers. Like, I did not get it before. I didn't really, but I literally swipe a little bit on. The other favorite I have to mention with this is this brush favorite. It's from Sephora Pro. It's their domed stippling number 41. I know this was recently like on crazy sale. I hope it's still on sale. It's incredible. But I literally would just use this to lightly do, buff it in. And it just looks so nice. And I feel like natural. I mean, it's still a bronzer, but it's beautiful, you guys, and it stays in place. For something that's a cream, it actually stays in place all day long. I've worn this in the heat, like the Florida heat, like in Disney. It still stands up, you guys. It's so, so good. And this is something, it's over $20, so it's still pricey, but you're gonna at least get a lot of use out of it because you're hardly using anything when you use it. Like, I think I've maybe rolled this up once. Like, you're gonna have this for a long time. While we're on brushes, the only other brush favorite I have is from Sephora Pro. Again, this was the year of me discovering how good the Sephora Pro line of brushes is, and now I've bought, so like every time I place a Sephora order, I like add one more brush. And a lot of times they'll have a few on sale, so I'll buy it when it's on a crazy sale. But I'm treating these as investments because these are such good brushes. This is the Sephora Pro Flawless Airbrush number 56. This is the only thing I've used for concealer ever since the day I bought it. It is the most amazing concealer. It makes blending your concealer in so fast, even if you've never used a brush for that. It's so good, you guys. It's so good. The days I don't use this, I notice a difference in the way my concealer looks. Like, it's so good. And these both clean really well. I will say I do notice a little bit of shedding with the number 41 lately. When I'm cleaning it, but not really while I'm applying. And so I'm like, well, and it's staying intact and I've washed it a lot. So just be aware of that, I guess. Blush, I have the Physicians Formula Dewy Blush Elixir. I love that. I'm wearing it today. It really is a dewy blush. Over the months that I've been using this, even longer, it definitely does have a dewy finish. And I think that one thing, if I'm needing makeup to last all day, like I'm talking 12, 15 hours, I will have to top this with a powder of some kind, whether I'm like lightly putting an actual powder on top or if I'm topping it with like a... Does anyone else get freaked out when people turn around in your driveway? You're like, who is that? Who's here? And then they turn around and you're like, why our driveway? Anyway, so that's one caveat that as I've gotten to know this product better, I do think it's gonna wear off after like 8 hours because it's so dewy and beautiful. But man, like if you're going out for the evening, it's so pretty. Or I don't know, I still love it and I use it all the time, but it's just something I've realized as I've learned it more, But another cream product I love is from Kosas. This is pricier, but I have used this so much this year. It's their Color and Light Cream. It's in the shade 8th Muse. I've traveled with this a lot. I'll literally take my finger and tap the blush on, then I'll use a different finger and tap the highlight on. It's one of those things that it's very supermodel-y. Like to me, when I'm using this, I feel like my skin looks like a supermodel's skin. Again, this is gonna last maybe 8 hours, but it's not gonna last 15. So just keep that in mind. I would say that's true for most cream products, but I love it so much and I can't stop using it. There's another shade range they have that's more of like a rusty bronzy color and a highlight that I'm playing with as well, but this one I definitely love the most. I feel like powder blush wise, I've tried many and I loved them all, but none of them were like, that's the thing about powder blush. Like I feel like we've all nailed it. Like, all of the brands have nailed powder blushes that I don't feel like any one stood out because they're all good at this point. You know what I mean? In 2020, all powder blushes are pretty much created equal. So I could have mentioned like 5 of them, but I'm like, they're all good. I mean, they really are. Highlight. This I discovered from Arna Elaine, who I mentioned, the MAC Double Gleam Skin Finish. If you have a little bit fairer of skin, this is gonna be your favorite highlight. She is fairer than I am, but it's so just like perfectly glowy and perfectly dewy, but it's still a powder, so it's gonna stay. I'll use it on my brow bone, I'll put it there, I'll put it on the tip of I use it everywhere, and it's just so, it catches the light so beautifully. So this, I've totally fallen in love with. I've honestly not used much other highlight other than this. Another one though that I have loved is this ColourPop Light Stick in Earth, U-R-T-H. This is one that I don't apply directly. I'll usually get it on my finger. I can tap a little bit on and tap it just right there, maybe a little bit on the brow bone. And I just feel like, again, it catches the light. I really don't need any more highlight, do I? Oh well. It just catches the light so beautifully, and it's just so easy to use. You know what I mean? It's so easy to use, and it's one that it blends in easily with your finger without totally looking like a stripe, and that I appreciate because not all liquid highlighters are created equal. If you are curious about more of like my favorite cream and liquid products like blush, bronzer, highlight, I did a whole video showing you every single one on my face from the drugstore. I can link below. Lip-wise, I don't have a lot to share. Not that I didn't fall in love with lip products, but I just feel like it's a lot of my absolute favorites have been my favorites. Like last year, they were my favorites too. So one brand new discovery for me this year is this freaking $3 Nivea Blackberry Lip Care. Listen, that's what I'm wearing today. It smells like blue Kool-Aid in the best possible way. It's so freaking pretty on the lips. It's so pretty. And again, I tried this when I was trying a bunch of beauty YouTubers' favorites, and it was Emily Noel's favorite, and my lips are always hydrated with it. And I do prefer to wear it with a lip liner when I can, but I don't feel like I absolutely have to. But my favorite one to pair it with is the MAC lip liner in Dervish. I feel like color-wise it works really well. MAC lip liners are kind of dry, but once they get going, they are really good. So it's one of those, I don't know that I really think this is like a yearly favorite, but the shade Dervish is definitely one of my favorites. Gloss-wise, I cannot find what I wanted to mention, which is the YSL Lip Balm. I think it was a favorite last year. It might have been my most used lip product yet again this year. And I'll put a picture on the screen. I can't find it. I'm heartbroken. I thought it was in my purse because that's where I've been applying it. I don't know where it is. It must have like fallen out. My purse falls all the time, like in my car. So I have a feeling it like slid under the seat. It's so good. I've been using that same one for like 2 years. It's probably almost run out. But it's like a balmy, it's not even really a stain. It really is more like a liquid balm that's kind of glossy, but not thick at all. It's a very thin layer, and it's so comfortable. You don't need a lip liner. You don't even really need a mirror, but it makes my lips look so healthy. And for me, I'm realizing I like bright red lips and things like that, but for most days, I'm not wearing a straight up lipstick. I'm wearing like a glossy balm or a lip balm like the Nivea one. And so those are my true favorites. You know what I mean? Those are what I use the most. Another newer one to me this year, shade-wise, that I did actually really like is the MAC lipstick in Modesty. I had it on earlier, but I didn't really reapply, and then I just put on the Nivea. But I've worn this a lot lately, and it's just a really good everyday pink. You know what I mean? It's not super pink, but it's not super nude. It's kind of right in between, neutral, not too brown, not too pink. I like it. I was wearing it in a recent video, and so many of you guys really liked it too. I don't love MAC lipsticks formulas, but this is a cream sheen, and I think that's probably one of my favorite lipstick formulas from them because it's not quite as drying. It's a little bit more comfortable to wear. Those are my favorites. I feel like I could have named 10 million other things, I know. And like lip glosses, you guys know I love the Dose of Colors lip gloss. However, my one in Messy Bun like exploded on me the other day, and I'm still mad at it. So it's on hiatus. That's my favorite lip gloss formula of all time, period. So I didn't mention it really as a favorite, but it's my favorite lip gloss formula. I love doing these every year. Like I said, if you have it in your heart to donate to this cause, to build this center for those in Ecuador, that would be amazing. The link is below. Thank you guys for supporting me and watching these videos. That is also supporting this, like I said. I will see you in my next video, which will be my next JAMMY Award video. So stay tuned. I hope you subscribe if you enjoyed. And here's to a beautiful 2020. Bye.